I always imagined a Jedi building their lightsaber to be like their personal creation because it fits them.
Right. And if it looks like another's, then they're just not a very imaginative Jedi.
Luke making his look just like Obi-Wan's.
They even started a fight over that. Like, he stole my design.
Yeah.
Was there lightsaber hilt patenting or copywriting?
Copyright in the Jedi Temple.
Count Dooku definitely patented this hilt.
Oh, he had to, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hello there. You found the Lost Holocron, an ancient artifact of lore and legends from a galaxy far, far away. Each transmission of the Lost Holocron, you will join an episodic discussion of media from the Star Wars universe. We will be your guides. I'm Tim, and I'm joined by Kyle.
We're back, baby.
Scott.
Hey.
And Stuart.
We never left you.
This time. We will be covering the material up to and including Chapter 25 of Heir to the Empire. Stuart, what has happened so far?
Leia Organa, Solo, and Luke Skywalker are on the run as a mysterious race of aliens are trying to kidnap them. Unbeknownst to them, they are a task force under the control of a new clandestine leader, Grand Admiral Thrawn, a leader with machinations to overthrow the burgeoning New Republic and re-establish the Galactic Empire. Han Solo and Lando Calrissian have met with smuggling lord Talon Karrde, offering stable contracts fulfilling the logistical needs of the New Republic. Karrde, however, wishes to remain independent, but caught by his own ideals and the burden of entertaining both sides, he is caught in the act and forced to divulge information that may lead Han and Lando to the identification of the mysterious Imperial Commander, as well as admitting to being complicit in the capture of Luke Skywalker. Only moments before the revelation, Luke manages to escape and crashes both his own ship and that of his pursuer. Tethered to each other for survival, Karrde's maverick Lieutenant Mara Jade marches the recaptured rebel hero through Merca Wilderness, a species of which has been used to suppress Luke's connection to the Force and leave him vulnerable. On Kashyyyk, Leia and Chewbacca have gone into hiding, under the protection of Chewbacca's childhood friend Salperin and Ral Racine. Almost immediately after their arrival, Leia spots one of their kidnappers, but despite the quick response, the Wookiees find no evidence of having been watched. Scott, what happened in Chapter 25?
25. Leia awakens before dawn with a vague sense of having overstayed her period of safety. She is indeed correct as the gray-skinned aliens appear out of the gloom. She smites one of the would-be kidnappers, and another, after mysteriously faltering, is knocked unconscious by Chewbacca. Together with Ral Racine, they descend the great tree. The assailants want Leia alive, and so pursue at a distance, which Leia uses to her advantage to lay a trap to disable the remaining kidnappers. With one assailant in custody, Leia proceeds with the interrogation. The kidnapper, Kabarak, identifies Leia as the Malariush, the daughter and heir to Lord Vader. Kabarak divulges the identity and motivations of the Noghri people through their debt of gratitude to Vader and, by extension, the Empire. Leia maneuvers negotiations to extend a parley between the Noghri and Leia herself. Kabarak is sent off-world to convey Leia's offer of a parley to the Noghri, as begins a period of mourning for Chewbacca's lifelong friend Salperin, who was killed in the attack.
I really like seeing mourning ceremonies in Star Wars for some reason.
What do you think that is?
I think it's just really cool seeing how these fictional cultures mourn their dead.
Yeah.
Like, I was really struck by the fact that there's like a part of the process for just Wookiees. And then Leia could come in later.
Yeah.
I think that said a lot about how much loyalty means to them in their culture.
Yeah.
I immediately thought about that scene in Return of the Jedi where those two Ewoks get blasted and like one gets up and he's like helping, he's like pushing his friend. I just immediately thought of that. The other one just,
I love that moment.
Yeah, now that you mention it, like even Padme's funeral, I thought was really impactful in Revenge of the Sith. And is there a funeral in every Jedi in every movie? Because we've got Qui-Gon's in the first movie,
Right.
which in the second one,
or at least the trilogy, right? Each trilogy.
I don't know if we had one in the second one.
yeah. Then Padme's in Revenge of the Sith. In A New Hope, there was a kind of cremation for Uncle
Parents.
Uncle Owen.
Involuntary cremation.
Yeah.
Involuntary cremation.
I thought you were about to say Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I was like, there was literally no body, Stuart.
It's cremated by the Force.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say that was more of a moment of mourning.
Yeah.
I mean, episode 2 did have that one handmaiden. I think her name was Karrde at the beginning. But that was also like more of just like a moment of mourning rather than like a whole ceremony.
Actual ceremony, yeah. No, in the original trilogy, I guess there's no, besides Vader's cremation at the end.
Right.
That was a ceremony of one. Because nobody gave a shit about Vader for good reason.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, real quick, that did remind me, since you brought up Uncle Owen, in the original, that book that we've been talking about.
What's this book again?
This is for Star Wars from the Tales of Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
It's like mentioned that they were very cash poor at the moment because they had bought a bunch of moisture farmer, like the devices they do for moisture farming.
Right.
They like spent like a shit ton of money, and this next cycle they were supposed to get like a shit ton of money. But it wasn't going to work if Luke wasn't there. So if Luke left, but they didn't die, they probably would have just starved to death. But also, in that book, it's interesting because it's actually described what moisture farming does.
Oh, yeah.
It makes clouds so that it rains so they can grow other crops.
Oh,
That makes so much sense.
okay.
They're trying to terraform.
They're
my God.
farming with moisture. They're not farming the moisture.
Right.
okay.
They're making so whatever Luke's family does, it makes clouds so that it rains. Because otherwise it destroys the planet.
Right.
Well, it is regardless.
Right.
Yeah.
So the other farmers pay them to make clouds on their farms.
Right.
Okay. Because I thought it was just like you said, they're just farming condensation in.
Well, yeah, I thought it was pulling water from the ground. That's what I thought it was.
Does it say where they get the moisture from? Is it from the air?
I guess whatever it does, it takes it from the air and condenses it to a cloud form.
Right. Because we do know there's like meteorological engineering in Star Wars because like Coruscant is superbly controlled planet for their climate.
On the surface.
Well, that's where all the money is, Tim.
Air quality is probably awful on the lower levels.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as we discussed before, that because it's like several thousands of layers deep on there's like tons of space, despite there only being 1 trillion people on Coruscant.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that maybe they've abandoned the lower levels as the air quality drops. And so they're just building higher and higher to escape this terrible air quality that's building up from the bottom of the planet.
Oh my God.
Apparently, Tatooine also has a bustling underground city we just don't see.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, the reason, like, the majority of the city is underground because the harsh desert on the outside.
Oh, yeah,
That's why when they
sense.
go into the cantina, it's like they come down steps because it's supposed to be partially underground.
Right, yeah. It'll be
yeah,
climate
yeah.
controlled under there. Much easier.
Yeah.
So is that like most cities then, or just specific cities?
For the amount of time we spend on Tatooine, we don't get a lot of details, but apparently a lot more it is to the city underground.
That is cool.
Cool. That's really cool.
I know we rag on Tatooine for how much time we spend there, but honestly, I really enjoy seeing various aspects of its culture, personally.
The thing is that we spend so much time there, but know so little. So when we do find out a new piece of information, it's okay, now we care.
True. Yeah, true.
It's like, there's an actual reason to actually kind of like this place.
Okay, guys, which is worse, Tatooine or Jakku?
Do we know anything about Jakku?
Yeah, no, we don't know much about Jakku. Just that there's like scrappers there.
And that one battle happened.
Right, yeah.
And they have magic bread.
Magic, what do you say? Was anyone else really bothered by the fact that Leia sleeps with her lightsaber under her pillow?
You don't, Kyle?
I will. You know, often, if I did not stab myself through the head, I would lose fingers regularly.
But there's a safety.
Is there?
No, the Force guides you in your sleep.
Because it can be turned off just by smacking it out of your hand, apparently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, you got to switch it on, and then there's a lock.
Well, it has a pressure switch, I guess.
Does that mean that they're constantly gripping that switch when they're fighting?
I guess. I've always wondered that.
That's what Liam Neeson thought when filming Phantom Menace. There's like this one close-up of Qui-Gon during Duel of the Fates where he's holding it up and you see his finger on the red button. And he said in an interview that one thing that really struck him when he got on the movie to select the props was that lightsabers had buttons, because he always thought it was just like activated by a thought.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I have, I forget if he mentioned explicitly that he was like holding it down, but it looked like he was, and I would not be surprised if that was an extension of that realization for him.
That seems like a great safeguard for lightsabers. Only Force users can activate the button within by thinking about it.
Right?
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Maybe when it comes out of their hands, they use the Force to turn it off.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, because Leia gets it the shit smacked out of her lightsaber, and it flies across the room. And luckily, it turns off, so it doesn't slice everything. And the idea of a activated lightsaber just being thrown, it's like the damage, the destruction.
Oh my god, that is scary. It probably has to be built in then for there to be a safeguard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so in this chapter, Leia gets attacked in her sleep. She wakes up and immediately kills somebody.
Right?
She's getting some real premium bodyguard defense training on Alderaan then.
I think that's her first kill with the...
I did like that she went for her blaster first.
Did she?
Oh,
yeah, she did.
Did
she? Oh, yeah, because then it got like smacked out of her hand or whatever, right? Or the guy, or the got grabbed her hand or whatever.
She has to remove the pillow before she can get to her lightsaber.
But then she threw the pillow at the guy.
She has a whole arsenal just under her pillow.
Her pillow is a weapon, too.
Flips up the mattress and there's
It's a thermal detonator.
She's got like knives and nunchucks and like a spiked mace.
Thank God it was an enemy, though. And she didn't it wasn't Chewbacca trying to tell her that breakfast is ready. I was not expecting, nor did I really want a Leia chapter with everything going on in the rest of the book. But I really enjoyed this chapter. It was kind of a nice, refreshing.
Yeah, it was a bit of a refreshment there.
It was interesting to see her kind of use a little bit of her, I don't know, creativity, I guess. You know, like swinging the lightsaber down and cutting down the bottom of that skiff ray or whatever the hell that was.
Yeah. That was really fun.
Yeah.
I would like to postulate, because we don't get a description of what color the lightsaber is.
Not yet.
Yeah, aggravatingly so.
It's orange.
Is Timothy Zahn authorized to specify a color?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I think George Lucas had specific time periods. He's like, don't talk about this, but do whatever you want.
I think if a different color were to be shown later, it would just be retconned.
Right.
Yeah, they did that with some of the games.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because George saw multiple tiers of canon.
Yeah. So my first thought was that, one, Timothy Zahn can't actually specify a color. He wasn't told what it was, so he just has to say that, like, it's a blazing light. It's I like the blazing chunk of wayward lightning was one of the phrases that he used to describe it.
That's fun.
Well, at this point, are there other colors besides blue and green at this point?
And red, but
red.
I don't think so.
I feel like someone would imagine it. Once you introduce a third color, it's not hard to imagine it.
Yeah. Well, by the time of Return of the Jedi, there was only supposed to be red and blue, but Lucas made the green just so it would stand out against the backdrop of the sky.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe Timothy Zahn was trying to keep that.
Yeah.
Besides the obvious, because Luke's was already green. But
interestingly, though, I did read. It was like a written down recording or transcript of a behind the scenes conversation, and it was George Lucas, Lawrence Kasdan, and I think Richard Marquand, and they were discussing like Luke's new lightsaber, and wondering if it's something that needed to be like explained to the audience. And one of them said like, "Oh, it should just be, they just need a throwaway line to get that answer, and that's it. We don't need to focus on it." And then one of them suggested maybe it's a new color to show that. So it was something they were considering.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Like a new color for his new lightsaber to show that he's like progressed or something.
Yeah, to be like, this is not the same one. He is his own person now.
Yeah.
You guys have seen the Ralph McQuarrie concept art of?
Oh yeah.
Like all the lightsabers in those are white, and the stormtroopers carrying them, and the heroes carrying them. My wondering as well, because like to be described as like lightning and blazing, and that it really did give me those like Ralph McQuarrie vibes. That what if all lightsabers, when you're holding one, just looks white, and the only reason that you can tell what color it is by some very faint tint that comes around the rest of the room. So everybody knows that like, well, when you're looking at it, you can't look directly at it because it's just white. But when the film is capturing this, the wavelengths of light that are most strong in that white end up coming out as that blade color that we see in films and stuff. But if you're actually holding a lightsaber, it looks white. And the only reason that anybody kind of gets this like impression is like through that kind of like lightning effect of like when you see lightning in the sky, it's white. But then there's like this after image effect that happens in your mind of like, oh, well, that was purple, or that was kind of like a little bit yellowy or something. So
that is cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, I wonder if lightsabers have that kind of effect of like, it's an after image in your brain that says like, oh, shit, that's red, or oh, cool, look at that green. But when you actually study the blade itself, it is just white.
That would explain quite a few things, because a lot of the galaxy doesn't seem to be able to recognize the difference between Jedi and Sith very often. And so like at a glance, it's like, oh, all the same color. And we haven't seen a story beat where a red lightsaber like means danger.
So there was one part in one of the newer Vader comics where the clone troopers were still, it was like right after Order 66. And the clone troopers had actually seen Vader with his lightsaber, and they're like, Jedi, blast him, because they didn't know the difference. Yeah.
Malfunctioning chips.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wonder, so like lightsabers turn red because the crystals within them are alive, and when you do evil acts, they start to bleed. Can they heal? Does that change back?
I believe so, yeah.
You can heal them.
I think Ahsoka did that.
Yeah, so far we know it turns them white, but
Right. Okay.
To me it hasn't been confirmed whether they can become another color from that. But there have been enough instances of it turning to white that I think it's logical to assume that that's how white comes about. Yeah, but it hasn't been like 100% confirmed yet.
Yeah.
Ahsoka.
Getting all the cool stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I have various feelings about Ahsoka, but I'm sure we'll cover that at some point.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm very... we'll do that later.
I would like to say that I really like Ahsoka, just for the record.
I'm looking forward to the series.
I have no problem with Ahsoka.
Yeah, I have no problem.
Her being introduced in the story makes me question a lot of things.
So I would like to also have a little PSA that Leia does something very good in terms of self-defense, and one of the things that I learned about doing martial arts is that the first attacker goes for her arm, grabs her arm, right? And most people will start to fixate on the fact that they've been grabbed, right? And so they'll start pulling away, and then that actually puts your assailant in a position of power because, you're off balance, you're trying to pull away, you're kind of panicked. But what she did was that she looked for something else. You saw that her other hand is free. That other hand is still a weapon that you can use to, throw a pillow, grab your lightsaber, throw a kick, or anything. That, if you get grabbed, don't panic about the grabbed hand. You still have 3 other limbs that are perfectly good weapons to fight back. So I want I want to give her a little
Hell yeah.
gold star for that bit of detail.
Do a thumb to the eyeball.
Exactly.
Right.
Neck eyes.
Yeah. Well, I thought they mentioned something about like her self-defense training coming back to her or something like that from.
Yeah. She had Alderaanian self-defense training, which they talked about when she wasn't picking up the lightsaber stuff with Luke.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That she had self-defense training before.
I do really like that the lightsaber was her last resort. I think that says a lot about where she is right now.
Yeah.
It's almost like she's still not 100% comfortable with it.
Yeah, and even the way she uses it later, like tying it to the rope, and she doesn't. Yeah. And she seems like concerned about it going out of her hand. And I was kind of like, you could just force pull it back. But I'm like, oh, she's not there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's really fun to see someone in that position.
Yeah. And she uses it more of like a tool, which I actually think a lightsaber would make an amazing tool. Not just a weapon, but I think that's cool that she did that.
Universal cutting implement sounds very useful.
Yeah.
Yep. But she hasn't quite gotten like the spiritual connection between the Jedi and the lightsaber yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably pretty true, because like I felt like her fear in this chapter was very well expressed. The panic of being in the room, of not knowing what's going on, her like sudden like quick instincts to say, don't kill this one, and then they escape and she's going down the tree and she's like really shaking, and she like at that point where it said like she opened her eyes after not realizing that they'd been closed, and like I did feel that palpitative fear from her. And so as you said, that the spiritual aspect isn't there, but like maybe she's had like formal training is one part. But
also Luke made it for her, so if she had made it herself, she might have a much stronger connection to it.
Ooh,
interesting.
Yeah, I didn't consider that.
Funny that Luke would do that when he inherited one and then made one for himself later.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I feel like he would push for making your own.
Yeah, but maybe it's like, he had a practice saber. Maybe he's giving her practice saber.
Maybe.
Yes.
And I'm sure, in the Jedi Temple, they've got the saber examples out there that the kids are all using until they can make their own during the gathering. So
yeah,
you would definitely have experience with a saber before you create your own. And so, after you've had a choice of like, well, I've tried this one, and that handle was a bit too long, and this one was a bit too heavy. I didn't like the gyroscopic effect on this one. I like the prominences on this one. Then when you're starting to build your own, you've got like a little library in your head of like, okay, well, I know what works and what doesn't work. I would like the chassis to be a little bit bigger because, where my hand's going to be placed and where do I put the switch. But having some basic knowledge of like, okay, well, this is the kind of stuff that can be there is probably quite useful.
God, I wish we had that for the real life saber hobby. Everything's just so expensive.
Yeah.
And I just want to like see how things feel.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's how I always imagined a Jedi building their lightsaber to be like their personal creation because it fits them.
Right.
As far as like ergonomics and just comfort and all the other details.
And if it looks like another's, then they're just not a very imaginative Jedi.
Luke making his look just like Obi-Wan's.
I think everyone started a fight over that. Like, he stole my design.
Yeah.
Was there lightsaber hilt patenting or copywriting?
Copyright in the Jedi Temple.
Count Dooku definitely patented his hilt.
Oh, he had to, absolutely.
Yeah. And Obi-Wan, the first thing Obi-Wan says to him as a ghost, really? You had to copy my lightsaber?
Yeah.
Well, supposedly he built that green lightsaber out of parts that he found in his shack.
Oh,
so
I know.
It was probably it probably was all the spare parts from
out of convenience. But
We will actually find out soon in canon because the upcoming issues of the comic series are getting there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his yellow one just got something happened to it, so now he needs the green one. Yeah. Anyway, that's an update on canon.
So the yellow one was a temple guard, right?
Yeah, it was. Half of one specifically.
Yeah, half of one.
Temple guards.
And he got it from a High Republic temple.
Oh,
cool.
Oh, so it wasn't like a Clone Wars era temple guard.
Man, I'm excited for the High Republic. I want to see old Jedi. I know we're not going to get like the first Jedi, but
we will actually.
One day.
There's a movie coming.
Oh, okay.
Directed by James Mangold, who did Logan, 3:10 to Yuma, Night and Day.
Oh,
So wait, the first Jedi, would that be like the Jedi Order?
Dawn of the Jedi. That's what it's called.
Oh, it's like Dawn of the Dead, but with lightsabers.
But the Jedi, yeah.
The Force.
I wonder what that means, though. I imagine Force users existed far before Jedi existed.
Scott, are you familiar with this part of Legends?
Not the first Jedi, but I mean the first Jedi Order. Where they studied the Ashla and the Bogan. Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. I read those comics, and that book was disappointing.
I didn't read the book.
It's all right. We're getting a movie now.
I really liked that book.
They all got summoned to the planet. I can't remember the name of the planet now.
Is Ashla and Bogan like light side and dark side?
Yeah.
They're the two moons of the planet that they revered, and they had that they were symbolic of those places.
So back then they studied them.
Was that one? Was there a weird episode of Clone Wars about them?
There was the Mortis arc.
Oh, that one. Yeah, okay.
Those episodes were out there. I like them.
Clone Wars. I every time I try to watch Clone Wars, it's a little worse than I remember.
Okay,
Nice.
yeah. So it was on the planet Tython.
Oh yeah, Tython.
Yeah, Tython.
These comics are beautiful. And I really like. There were no lightsabers at this point as well. They were just using regular swords,
Nice.
but it was at the height of
the Organa Empire, right?
the Infinite Empire, the Ratakan Infinite Empire.
Yeah.
And so the Ratakans are the ones that actually have force staves. I think they call them a force.
Yeah, and they had force sabers, or some of them had force sabers, where it was like basically like a blade of pure force energy.
Yeah, I think so. So they took.
He was a force hound. They call him a force hound. Yeah.
Basically, the Ratakans enslaved everybody, right?
Yeah.
But the Ratakans themselves would subjugate force users and twist them into just instruments that they would use around the galaxy.
Because most of their technology used dark side energy.
Yeah.
Which was ultimately their downfall. Spoiler.
Can't use the dark side, guys. Feels good in the moment, but in the long run,
Yep.
you're gonna lose a limb.
With the dual power source prosthetic.
Try to have a good skincare routine at least.
Stay out of the sun.
Well, we had an incredible, awesome, scary-sounding thrill ride on Chewbacca.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I felt so bad. Like, they lost one of their team members. Chewbacca has, like, a burnt part of his flesh that he's just, like, dealing with.
And why is he the one to carry her at that point as well, if he's the one that's more injured?
That's the one thing I was wondering, because when they brought up Chewbacca, he's, like, he's wounded, and, like, his heart's racing, he's not doing good. And then when they talked about the other guy, he's like, there he is, leaning against the door. And I just wasn't showing there. I mean, like, we got attacked.
He's just over there bleeding out. Yeah.
I don't know if Ra Rachin was described this way, but I've been imagining him being like a bit of an older Wookiee.
Oh.
I felt so too.
Do Wookiees gray in age?
Like an elder or something.
I think so.
That's cute.
Yeah.
They get green from the moss.
You know what we were talking about?
They're fur molds.
No. What if because we talked about their clothes before, and their clothes are just like sashes and stuff like that. But what if, because they have hair all over their body, humans, modern day humans are very antiseptic, right? We soap everything, make sure that all stuff is, we don't want mold or bacteria or anything on their body. But what if the Wookiees, their clothing is a kind of like, what do you call it? Symbiotic moss that is in their fur, that protects them from stuff, that, keeps them, just like we have like the bacterial layer on our body, that they have genetically engineered some sort of like thing that takes care of their body odor, something that also is repellent to water, helps them absorb damage. And I want to get to that era of genetic engineering.
Yeah.
For Wookiees, if that is a thing, I don't think it's genetic engineering. I think it's just natural evolution.
I think it would be like a
Living in the
natural
world.
biological.
Being a furred creature and living in like a humid treetop area. And also,
symbiotic.
Speaking of odor, I imagine that most other species, Chewbacca's fucking stink. I bet that planet smells like wet dog.
Yeah, I know. I always think that.
Yeah.
I mean, have you guys actually been to like a damp forest?
Yeah.
The smell and the decay of the
It's very musty.
Musty decaying foliage on the forest floor. Like, I imagine that's pretty much what it smells like.
But I also think that they also evolved to not smell that. I think Chewbacca's are like, yeah, what smell? What are you talking about?
I mean, we don't notice our own smells.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I just moved into a new place and it still smells like paint, and I'm probably gonna smell that for another week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then Leia does a sick maneuver where she ties her lightsaber to a rope and pendulums it over at a speeder.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which really makes me want like a mini, like a short lightsaber rope dart kind of situation.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Speaking
Let's
of
do
rope
it.
dart, Destiny 2 Hunter with the strand. Super. Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Oh, shit. That would be... Do you guys know what... like, I talked with Tim about this because we played Jedi Survivor, right? And the Gendai in that Ravis has this meteor hammer. It's not an actual meteor hammer. It's something it's like a meteor hammer, but Scott, you know what a meteor hammer is?
No, but it just sounds really badass.
So it's a weight on the end of a chain or a string, and it's something that people like fling around.
Okay.
It's kind of like the weapon in Kill Bill.
Yeah,
Probably.
that Gogo Yubari uses.
That's kind of what I was imagining.
So it's basically like a weaponized yo-yo,
Yeah.
right? And you wrap it around your body so that it flings out really quickly and whatnot. And what if somebody made something like that with the yo-yo, the weight at the end? Just they can flick a switch at the end of the rope or something that turns on the lightsaber, and it's just like this dangerous cutting thing that just is flinging all around the place.
Yeah, now I'm just imagining the from Kill Bill, because what she does, she has a gravity hammer, but at one point she hits something and like almost like circular stars come out of it. They don't activate. It doesn't turn on.
No,
but it is
it's
a
like
ball with a circular blade on it.
blades on it, yeah.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm imagining.
Yeah, exactly,
Lightsaber style.
Respawn Entertainment, if you're listening, make this a combat stance in the next game.
After seeing that weapon, I want to play with one of those because I've got nunchucks, I've got the 3-section staff, and now I want one of these.
Ooh, nice.
I can't remember what it's called. Chigirigi, maybe. Sounds like a lot of fun to use. It looks like a lot of fun to use.
I've learned today that Stuart likes chains.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to put a picture of that gravity, the meteor hammer from Kill Bill.
Yeah. We'll grab one of those.
There's so many visual references here.
Maybe we can link the Destiny 2 Hunter using their strand. It's really fun. It is really freaking fun.
I would love to see it too, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so lightsaber variations. How far is too far? Like, when is our variation of a lightsaber weapon just like completely cross the barrier of plausibility or practicality?
I think it crosses that line pretty early because it's like how many blades and variations. It's like that one video, where it's like Kylo Ren ignites his lightsaber, and then somebody else ignites fucking the pizza box, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, the pizza cutter.
Remember that one?
Or whatever, yeah.
It's like the Christmas tree and the...
Can you imagine that parasol as well from
Visions? Yeah. That one too.
Well, see, here's the thing. When it comes to, like, weapons and media, like, sometimes it's just cool. Like, I know that scythes aren't a practical weapon, but when I see someone doing some cool stuff with a scythe, I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Right?
True. This is very true, yeah.
I think like a lightsaber Kopesh would be badass.
Oh, right. It's the
It's like a curved,
Egyptian one.
Egyptian, yeah.
Ooh.
How would you make that shape, though?
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to work like that.
No. I mean, how do they make the darksaber shape? With like the angles at it, you know?
Good question.
I want a shield. I want
Shield.
A lightsaber shield?
Yeah.
Well, they have
Yeah.
the energy shields. That
Oh, yeah.
kinda
Yeah,
act like a
I do
lightsaber.
like the energy shields. I like the
plasma.
particularly like the Vambrace shields that they've got
Yeah.
in the Knights of the Old Republic comic series.
Mm.
I think that crossed with a lightsaber would be pretty cool.
It's not Star Wars related at all. I just watched the new Dungeons and Dragons movie, and one of the characters has like a slingshot that's like attached as an arm brace that I really like.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Ezra had that in Rebels.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. His little like energy
Oh,
slingshot.
yeah.
I fucking love Ezra's gunblade. I know a lot of people should love his gunblade, but I fucking love
His,
it.
his staple gun.
Honestly, I think it's fun. I think it's a fun lightsaber concept.
I would love to see someone like interlock sabers with him and then he just shoots him in the chest.
Yes. Yeah, no, I think we should see more of that one.
Shall we move forward to the interrogation scene?
Yes, let's get
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. We should,
So first off, I want to say that Leia is a terrible interrogator.
Absolutely not.
I feel like
yeah.
we get halfway through the interrogation before she realizes, oh, I need to be a little bit diplomatic about this. Because like she is slagging off Vader, she's slagging off the Empire, and like that doesn't build any rapport with the person you're trying to the person that you're trying to get information out of.
Right.
Yeah, she's too pure of heart.
Yeah.
I like that when she gets in there, he just starts sniffing her. Like he just
Oh yeah.
and she's like cool with it. Like
That made me so uncomfortable.
Does she get sniffed on the regular, like as a diplomat?
She probably recognizes cultural things like that.
Oh yeah. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's Wookiees, which she
Right.
seems to have a fear of.
right.
I mean, she did pretty quickly pick up that he had the physiology of some sort of like tracking animal as well. So
Right.
that was pretty cool. Like that inclusion
Yeah,
as a concept for these, the Nogri, that being the commandos that they are, they're stealthy, hunt and seek kind of stuff. So it was a good addition.
I really loved the reveal that they basically worship Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, Leia, heir to the Dark Lord.
Well, even in the Jedi Knight Academy game, they mentioned that the Nogri were Darth Vader's personal bodyguards
Oh, was that in text or dialogue?
in dialogue.
You see, I just kept skipping it because I wanted to.
It was in one of the
I wanted action.
one of the mission briefings. This kind of brings a little bit more light to that. They actually worshipped him because apparently he saved them from something.
Save their planet from destruction.
Yeah.
It seems. And I do like him. What's the guy's name again? Kabarak.
Kabarak.
Yeah, Kabarak. Like a Cadillac. Is that how the audiobook said it?
Like Kabarak. I think it was Kabarak or something close to that. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be all over the place with the stress on this name. It's going to be Kabarak, and Kabarak.
Is there a single name we've been consistent with, though?
I will destroy any name that you throw at me.
Yeah. I think Kabarak is the way that he did.
I mean, we've been pretty good with Sabayoth since the beginning.
Yeah, well, yeah, except at the beginning. Yeah, it took us a little bit on that one.
But I do like that Kabarak is giving her this title of Lady Vader.
Oh yeah.
I like Lady Vader.
Yeah,
Lady Vader is really cool.
Well,
Yeah.
that Vader was like his name, not his Sith name, but it was like his actual name.
Yeah.
Another quick side note: in the book that came out before the movies came out, Obi-Wan refers to him as Darth a lot, as if that was his first name.
He did that in,
A
New Hope.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He does it a lot in the other book. It is like,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, back when you're first seeing A New Hope in theaters, you don't know he has a different name. And you don't know that's just his title. You think that's his actual name.
One thing I did like about the Kenobi Disney Plus series is that it gave a little bit of weight to him calling him Darth.
Yeah.
Did it? How?
Because
Yeah.
he first calls him Darth after he realizes that Anakin chose this, and it's not 100% Obi-Wan's fault.
Right.
So it's like he's accepting who he is now.
Right.
right.
And instead of calling him Anakin or even Vader as respect to who he is now, he just calls him Darth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a smart choice on the show.
Yeah. It's almost like he's just another Sith. You know, he's
Yeah.
just another Darksider. Doesn't matter.
It's also kind of like Obi-Wan has to put a little bit of separation there
Yeah.
for himself, emotional separation.
There was something that was like, there was one of the, I think it might have been one of the newer canon models where like Obi-Wan was just like, yeah, it was bullshit that he turned. He had every chance he was given to live a happy life. Like, he said, I felt bad for like a little bit, but then after that I was mad. You know, that is a big thing. When I watched like Clone Wars and like they're trying to expand the story out a bit, there was so many times that Anakin like grazes the dark side just a little bit, and then he like snaps out of it. Like, oh, that was bad. But he does that so many times. It's like when it finally does happen in the movie, it's like you've already tasted this so many times that you like, you know that you start to get respect after it.
Yeah. I feel like we often don't give Anakin enough responsibility for his own actions.
Yeah.
I think we're often too quick to blame the Jedi Order for what he did.
Jedi Order is not great for a lot of reasons.
Right.
But just I don't agree.
Yeah, and I guess it's that the Palpatine as well, setting up all these things for people to. The easy choice is to do this thing, and so it's just creating the path of least resistance is the slide into the dark side for him. But all these, he could have made more difficult choices to do this thing, but the thing about the dark side is, you know, setting up those choices for other people to easily slip into these things, and that's how he controls politics as well. It's like making these. You have two choices. You can climb this hill to achieve something good, or like, you know, we'll just pay you off down here, or that this guy is offering to pay you off to say, like, they'll stamp your ticket at the bottom of the hill rather than the top.
I think he also consistently plays into people's fears when presenting those.
Mm-hmm.
Which we know, as Yoda said, is like the first step.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lady Vader, which the title of our book is Heir to the Empire. Do you think who is the heir? Is Leia the heir to the Empire, or is Thrawn the heir to the Empire?
According to the notary, it's Leia.
That did make me wonder, did Vader have anything to his name? I know he had like a pod that he like slept in or something. But like, I was it like a thing where like, yeah, Vader was there, but like Palpatine controlled his finances.
Yeah, I've always wondered that too. It's like, did he actually earn a paycheck or anything? But in the Jedi Academy game, you go to Vizhun, a planet called Vizhun, where he has his, it's called Bast Castle, and it's supposed to be like his personal castle or fortress.
He supposedly had a lot of those through the EU.
I think he had one on Mustafar too at one point.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a canon thing or whether that also appeared in the Legends.
I thought that was in the newer Vader series.
Yeah.
It's definitely a canon thing. I just don't know if it's in Legends as well.
Yeah, I think it's in the newer one. But
no, he's got stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
He probably has a lightsaber collection somewhere.
Speaking of heirs, who inherited Grievous's fine collection of lightsabers?
Right?
The bank.
The banking clan.
They repoed it.
They reclaimed it. Imagine the auction for that.
Oh, God.
Little do we know the general was steeply running on credit and borrowed time.
Yeah, then Leia promises to go visit his planet to see what they can fix. Which I'm curious what the issues are. I'm excited to see what are the issues on the planet.
Yeah.
She knows this guy for like 5 minutes, and she's already agreeing to meet him on an individual basis with no guards or anything. She trusts him that much, I guess.
I respected it, honestly.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
She didn't want to offer just her going. She almost accidentally did that. She's like,
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, I mean, stop doing that.
It did kind of slip out that, like, oh, is just one human going to threaten your society? And it's like, well, you're coming alone? And it's like, that's not exactly what I meant, but okay, now it is.
Yeah.
And from the description of the chapter, it seems that the problem was that there was some sort of space battle. They don't know how many ships crashed onto the planet. So I'm guessing that there's some sort of like environmental disaster that happened due to the, the environmental disaster means
there's just hyperspace fuel leaking into the oceans right now.
Like maybe, yeah. But what was it? The on Endor, the apocalypse after the Death Star 2 was destroyed.
Oh yeah,
That's got to crash somewhere.
Yeah.
We didn't get the name of the planet yet, right?
No. He's been very cagey about it.
I wonder where this happened.
I mean, it's got to be within Imperial territory,
Right?
and probably not in the mid-rim because it would still have to be in current Imperial territory.
What was that planet that with the Casino Tina that Han and Lando went to get that one dude?
Brigado Ray?
What if the Nogri are the people that wanted to be away, independent from the government that he's smuggling to?
Also, it is crazy that they're like, you destroyed our planet, but like they're just like sending wave after wave of their people to try to capture. Like they've lost a lot of people.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I don't know. How many people are you willing to sacrifice
just to get your planet under control?
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like a culture that really values leaders to an extreme degree.
Well, actually, they have to be somewhat territorial because they are spacefaring creatures. They could just be like, well, this place is fun. See ya, guys, and then go at it. But obviously they care about their planet enough to try to stay
there. Yeah. I mean,
but were they spacefaring back then?
I'm not sure because Kabarak seems to be. He said about them being simple people and just wanting to be left alone in a sort of sense. They wanted to keep to themselves. So they seemed a little bit isolationist before the Empire came to strong-arm their allegiance.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they were like still agricultural / hunters.
Yeah.
Based on like their physiology and their skill set.
That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, Kyle, if they were spacefaring, then, why would it matter that much?
Right.
This has to be like a pretty deep cultural wound that changed them forever.
But then again, there's a lot of spacefaring creatures that are like, if you're spacefaring, why is the rest of your culture like this? Like Jawas? Apparently Jawas are spacefaring creatures.
Yeah. They're always looking for things.
They're nuisances constantly.
Yeah.
They just want eggs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Space rats.
Oh man, I love Jawas.
Oh man,
they are so fun.
Wait, if you read from the Tales of Luke Skywalker, the way they talk about Jawas is gross.
Really?
Oh no!
Oh no!
They have to bury one, and he's like, since Obi-Wan is like a Jedi and he has respect for all life, he's just like, I guess I'll bury it.
Wait, does it have a description of what's inside the robes?
They're gross. They stink. They're subhuman, is what he refers to them as.
I imagine them being like little zombies or something.
Like they really talk down about Jawas.
I mean, they still do, kind of.
Yeah.
Canon.
Yeah.
What if Jawas are just like the Dark Elf equivalent of the Ugnaughts? they're Ugnaught Urukai.
Right. Ugnaughtikai.
But yeah, when you value honor above all else, then you get these kinds of cultures that you have to make these very tenuous promises that, you have to uphold one side of the bargain without really knowing who's on the other side of this.
Yeah.
We're lucky we know what Leia is like, but, Vader and the Empire have already twisted that on the other side. So,
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the chapter?
So I've been percolating on this for a while, and the way that some sort of speech impediment helps somebody understand that language, I finally have an answer for this.
Okay.
In Japanese, there are only 5 vowel sounds. There is a, I, u, e, o. But in English, there is 20-ish, 22-ish vowel sounds.
Oh.
That make it difficult for Japanese people learning English to understand these new sounds. Like they literally don't hear about them in their own language, and they're trying to get these new things like R and L they don't have in their language, which is why Japanglish always makes fun of using R's and L's interchangeably.
Yeah.
So imagine, if you will, that there is a kind of like sound space that different languages have different points on this map that they map to their type of speech, right?
Like a spectrum, basically.
Like a spectrum, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys know about the oral posture, which is basically the way that your mouth holds its neutral posture determines your accent.
I've heard of this, yeah.
Oh.
Right? So in order to speak another language, you have to and speak it in a way that doesn't sound like konnichiwa, my name, watashi no namae. Like, to speak in an authentic Japanese way, you have to hold your mouth in a slightly different posture that makes it sound authentic, right?
When I was studying French in college, I remember feeling like my mouth move internally the same way you're describing when I was speaking it.
Yeah.
And like change its shape. Or posture, rather. Yeah.
So you've adopted a new posture. And what I think that Ralrachin has is a kind of damaged posture that pushes certain sounds in a direction or collapses certain sounds that are usually distinct in Wookiee, in what's the Wookiee language called?
Shirawuk?
Shirawuk, yeah. So there must be these many sounds that, we've heard in the beginning of the book that Leia says, I still can't pick up the distinctions that Han so easily understands, right?
Yeah.
So these nuances either are collapsed or more exaggerated in this person, in Ralrachin's oral posture, that makes it easy for her to understand him while still struggling with hearing what Chewbacca says. Brilliant.
Like, literally, that's a good theory. That's a really good theory.
Awesome.
You should post it on the Maw installation. No, that legit makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because we were talking about it last night. I was like, what the hell? How does this make it easier for somebody foreign to understand this thing? And it's like,
yeah,
I'm sure Timothy Zahn didn't even think of that.
Maybe.
He's listening right now, and he's like, oh man,
it's the cow tools.
He's like, man, I just wrote that as a convenient thing.
Yeah. He's like, I need to hire this guy Stuart to help explain things for me.
Yeah, so, oh man, when that clicked for me, like, when I listened back to us talking about it, it suddenly clicked for me that, like, oh my god, these speech impediments, they sound strange in the native language, but then to a foreign language, how must that sound? Like, how does it sound to not speak the standard dialect in some language? And I was like, oh my god, this clicks for me.
Yeah.
So it's not as implausible as we
originally thought. Yeah. Oh man, I love learning. Yeah. Final thoughts?
I enjoyed it. It was nice. A nice little refresher.
Honestly, this might have been one of my favorite chapters, to be honest.
I think it was just nice to get out of the constant, like...
Yeah.
I was given answers in this. I know what's going on now. It's not boring. I'm mad.
True.
I'm mad at you.
It's nice learning things, but I think it also had some of the most compelling, well-written action in the book.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to mention something like we actually get to see the Wookiees using their climbing claw.
Right.
Yes.
I guess, we also haven't seen action like this since Binasari as well, when Luke was fighting them.
Yeah.
With the silly string.
And that kind of struggle in the marketplace as well.
Well, no, there was that scene where like the decoy Millennium Falcon showed up out of nowhere. We had that in between.
Oh, right.
But that all the action happened off screen. They kind of like were under suppressive fire, and then all of a sudden off camera, Han uses the lightsaber to take out the people on the other side who are in the decoy Falcon.
Right.
Yeah, as far as like actual action goes, this one and the Binasari, I quite liked the scene on Dagobah. That's probably my favorite chapter so far.
Oh, yeah. Where Luke has the vision.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But it seems like the next thing to happen is going back to Coruscant, because Leia wants to take this information back to Coruscant, and Han and Lando also they picked up about being a Grand Admiral, so they're going to want to go check the Imperial records on Coruscant. So,
yay.
Our characters are going to come back together.
We love it when things converge. Man, the Force works in mysterious ways, huh?
Hell yeah.
Real quick, I was just thinking back to the previous chapters. Did we ever get a response to like was there a thing about like a car fob, a key fob that summons a car or something? Am I
the slave circuit?
No. The beckon call that Luke found.
Call. Yeah.
Has that been resolved yet? Is there a loose thread somewhere?
I mean, we don't know what it's to.
Yeah.
We know what it is. That's it.
We know what it is, but that's all we got so far.
Yeah, that's still chilling.
But yeah, it hasn't played another role on
the Schrodinger's gun is still out there somewhere.
Yeah. Which I want to remind people that we think that this summons an entire fleet at the moment. That Katana fleet or something that just went missing because it was slave circuited and droids just took it to the middle of nowhere.
Yes, please.
I would be pressing that button everywhere.
Yeah, me
Honestly, not a bad way to take down Thrawn.
Yeah.
He has no way to know about this information,
Yeah.
Unless he spots it.
I think somehow he does.
He just knows Luke went to Dagobah.
And found the second call.
It would not surprise me if he was like, obviously he went to Dagobah where he found the key.
Obviously he was summoned to that exact cave.
Probably, like, he doesn't know what the thing is, but he knows how it all fits into the story in some way. Like, obviously he's gone to Dagobah. He's found some sort of tool that will achieve this result, and based on something else, I can deduce that I must maneuver in this way to then compensate for that unknown advantage.
This was his plan all along.
Thrawn put the key fob there.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I would legit be mad and done with this book if that was a trap set by Thrawn. Because he knew Luke would go back to where Yoda taught him.
Yeah. He just pushes the button and it summons Thrawn.
What if it's a key fob? What if it's a beckon call that summons a ship that Luke's like, oh, cool, there's a cool new ship. He gets on it, but it's actually programmed to take him back to Thrawn.
Yeah.
I'm out. I would prefer if he presses it and it just summons a vehicle that immediately hits him and immediately comes at him full speed, crashes into his location.
Just like kamikazes him.
I would rather Chewbacca get hit by a moon. Oh, actually, you know what? That's my new theory, is that's what it is. You press the button, it summons the nearest moon to you.
Oh, man. An OP gadget. Well, on that note, this has been The Lost Holocron. You can find transcripts, links to discussions, and more at our website, lostholocron.com. While you're there, you can learn how you can support the creation of future episodes. Read on, and we will be waiting for you in the next transmission. We would be honored if you would join us.